Yeah, that is correct, producer Landon. I got called a Nazi before 7:30 in the morning. So hey, everybody, welcome to the show. God Almighty, and I know what you're saying. Tony needs a haircut. You are accurate. You didn't know me when I had the long hair. I mean the down to my waist hair. Oh, those are good times. Those are good times. I'm Tony Katz. The show is Tony Katz today. I am smoking an All Saints St. Francis. All Saints is a smaller brand. It is done by Mickey Peg, P-E-G-G. Nice enough dude. This is an Ecuadorian Oscuro, I believe it is. Do I have that right? Yes, it's an Ecuadorian Oscuro wrapper, Nicaraguan in the binder and the filler. So an Oscuro is it's going to have a bigger feel all the way around to it. It's a good box press, not a super big price point. It has been, about $10. I don't know where it might be right now. I've had this one for a while. The St. Francis right there. That's a beaut. We got a radio show to do, so let's begin. A Hyundai plant in Georgia, 475 people arrested. That is all just breaking. Oh, and this economy, these jobs numbers are nuts. Tony Katz today. How in the world are you? 833 got Tony, 833-468-8669. That's how you get to be a part of the show. Glad that you're here. If you're not part of the live stream, you can get that over at the YouTubes. Tony Katz. You can also go to Twitter X, Tony Katz, Facebook, Tony Katz Radio. Easy to find, easy to be a part of. Get in the chat room. We can say hi to your mom, whatever it is you want. 475 people is a lot of people. 475 people are arrested in an ICE raid. Now, are we saying that means there were 475 illegal immigrants working at a Hyundai plant in Georgia? I would like to know a little bit about their hiring techniques, if you don't mind. I'd like to get an understanding of what kind of background check they do. The ICE-led raid at the HLGA battery plant, part of what they call a mega site, is reported by News Nation there for Hyundai, which is South Korean. Months in the making, according to the special agent in charge. You had federal agents in full tactical gear. I'm not surprised. I mean, we have all the gear. We might as well wear it. Supported by Georgia State Patrol, FBI, and DEA. DEA? Wait a second. DEA? Why would drug enforcement be there? Many questions. Then again, why do IRS agents have guns? A lot of questions to ask. They entered the facility under a criminal search warrant tied to allegations of unlawful employment practices. Well, if you've got 475 people working there who are legally in the United States, I would say unlawful employment practices is probably the low end of what you could call that. Hundreds of the detainees were illegally present in the United States or in violation of their presence in the United States working unlawfully. A majority South Korean nationals. Now, I want to make sure I'm always clear with you that we are always on the same page of these things. The violators must be dealt with in a very, very large way. And if that means Hyundai needs to be hit with a massive fine, the kind of fine that makes them wonder if they're ever going to recover. I'm talking about a Volkswagen-sized fine. If you know the story of Volkswagen's issues lately, that's a pretty good joke. I don't care if they like it. I don't care if the South Korean government gets angry about it. That's what has to happen. Now, I want to know, to what extent is the state of Georgia on the hook? The only reason I ask, and I'm not saying that anybody in the state of Georgia, within that Georgia government, within that Brian Kemp administration, is guilty of anything. I don't have that knowledge at the moment. I'm asking a question. What types of checks are done in these types of situations? What kind of agency oversight is there? Now, if you say to me, Tony, why do you think there's agency oversight? Because I could right now dial up 10 restaurant owners who all tell you that a health inspector will come in anytime they want, screw up the evening rush, and complain about something that doesn't count and shut the whole restaurant down. You telling me that the Hyundai plant in Georgia doesn't have, I don't know, one of those types? Who looked the other way at 475 illegal immigrants? Maybe I should ask it differently. Did anyone look the other way at 475 illegal immigrants? And if they did, I want to know when they go to jail. Seriously, you can't think that we can have this type of thing going on. Now we ask a next question. You can't have this type of thing going on and nobody is responsible. Don't get me wrong, Hyundai is responsible. But if the state has some level of oversight and didn't actually engage the oversight, well then, somebody has to go to jail. And now that you have done this, can we take a look at every other Hyundai plant in the United States? And how many people are being hired there? Did I mention the fine already that I would put on Hyundai? Well, that could get bigger. And now let's take a look at everybody else. How many people illegally are you hiring? When I say illegal, I want to give a qualifier. I am saying you did no actual checking to determine their status. Are you telling me that someone comes to work for you, they don't speak any English at all, the only language they speak is Korean, and you said, good enough by me, there was no background check? Well, Tony, you can't do that. That's xenophobic. Screw that. If I hire a gardener who isn't in the country legally, I'm going to get vilified. I don't care if you think, well, I can't actually check because that's racist. You check, you double check, you recheck. You notice what I'm talking about here is a standard. And anytime someone says you can't actually implement the standard, that's the bigotry. And what they claim you are doing by actually implementing the standard is bigotry. That is them engaged in projection. They're saying don't have a standard. I'm saying you have to have a standard. What they favor is bigotry, and what I favor is rationality. How many places is this happening? What actually is being checked, double-checked, and rechecked once again? The answer is I don't know. What I know is this is a massive number of people. Now, you could find out after all these arrests, no, that this person's fine, no, that person's fine, and that 475 number comes down to 86. I'm not saying it will. I'm saying it's possible. Let's say that it does. The fine has to be huge. Huge. You know, I'll get more into it coming up, but the border is the biggest story in America. Our safety and security because of the border. The biggest story in America. It is something we cannot relent on for a moment. And this story is just another reason why. Keep it here. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. Guys, welcome back. Tony Katz today. What's going on? A shorter stream today, as there often is on Fridays. The show will go on as normal. Good to be here. Good to be with you. The All Saints here, the St. Francis Box Press. If I have it right, they do this. Do they do this in Rocky Patel's factory? I think that's where it's done. Tabacalera via Cuba. That's all right. Isn't that right? Yeah, it is. It is made in the Rocky Patel factory. It is, I would argue, a stronger smoke. Certainly feels stronger than the Olivas I normally do during the show, but I had it in the humidor and I said, it's time. It's time. Give it a go. See what is up. So that's what's happening. Good to be with you. Dr. Matt Will is going to join us in a little bit. We take a look at this these jobs numbers, and it's like what? Basically, I just described it right there. I described it perfectly. And then the market sank, and then the market went up, and then the market went down again. Right now, as we talk, down 236. But this is the jobs number is only part of the story. Wait till you hear the manufacturing numbers. Now, I've got a take on something, which I'll get to later in the radio show. WIBC.com is where you go to stream that. But I want to hear Dr. Matt Will's take on the actual numbers and what he sees going on. And Chad, I want you to know, I am indeed the man. They say there are other men, but there aren't. There's just me, Chad, the man. Thank you for noticing. I appreciate it. By the way, I don't think you can be the man if you go.
No, you're wrong in your question. Number one, Venezuela is a major source. And the reason why is the following. And I've seen a lot of this reporting, and it's fake reporting, and I'll tell you why. It says that somehow Venezuela is not involved in the drug trade because the UN says they're not involved in the drug. I don't care what the UN says. The UN doesn't know what they're talking about. Maduro is indicted by a grand jury in the Southern District of New York. That means the Southern District of New York presented the evidence to a grand jury, and a grand jury indicted him. And then a superseding indictment came out that was unsealed about a year and a half ago that specifically detailed Maduro's actions. So number one, let there be no doubt, Nicolas Maduro is an indicted drug trafficker in the United States, and he's a fugitive of American justice.
That is Marco Rubio. I love it. The UN doesn't know what they're talking about. This is accurate. Absolutely, positively accurate, correct. Well done, well played. Good work, Secretary Rubio. Me, I'm Tony Katz. The show is Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Find everything at TonyKatz.com. The Department of War. It's a renaming. The Department of Defense will be renamed the Department of War, and the Secretary of Defense, that is Pete Hegseth, will now be the Secretary of War. Is this necessary? Well, first, let's go through the history here. It was the War Department from the beginning of the nation. The change to Department of Defense came, I believe, just after World War II. 1949, I believe it did. Yeah, so the change was part of a grouping of pieces of legislation from 1947. The actual name change came in 1949, Department of War to the Department of Defense. Now back to the Department of War. Does this matter? It's an interesting conversation. And if you watch Sean Spicer's show over there at the First, I should have a show at the First. That should happen. In addition to everything else, why not? The question came up. Does it matter? I was a guest on the show, and it doesn't matter. And I said, listen, I think that it doesn't matter to me if you call it the Department of Defense or Department of War. I'm fine with it. I'm not worked up about it. You can also call it the Department of Kicking Ass and Taking Names. And you can call it the Department of, oh, no, you didn't. It doesn't matter to me what you call it, as long as we're prepared. Sean made an argument because I asked him, you're a military guy, Navy. Does this matter to you? And his point, I think, is the same thing as your point, which is words have meaning, something I have long said on this show. But even more so, words set the mind. To say Department of Defense is to say we defend from the incoming thing. But defense, in and of itself, by itself, has a connotation of passivity. Is that what we're discussing? If you believe, like Secretary Hegseth believes, which I believe, and I think he was a solid pick, and he has proven, I think, the detractors wrong. Yes, the stuff was signal. Yes, you can't be texting out these things, but everything in terms of the bombing raid of the Iranian nuclear facilities went perfect. Recruiting is up. People are being pushed out of positions that they don't deserve to be in. There is a streamlining, there is a honing that is going on that is valuable and good. We are not interested in developing soldiers who are anything but the types of people ready to kill the enemy in protection and pursuit of America's future. That's what we're building here. We're building a fighting force. We're not building a kumbaya force. This is about stating out loud that we understand our purpose. And Department of War better understands the purpose than Department of Defense. Now, I think this is a very good question for the dinner table. I do. I think it's a very good question for your kids, not in a way of trying to lecture, but rather a discussion of what it is words mean and how things get presented. And not only as we do them on a macro scale, but what about in your own life? How you speak to your own parents? How do you speak to your friends? Are you engaged in a way where you're trying to best share the thought and the idea? Words do matter. And we should be people who say so. When I say it doesn't matter to me, I only want our military to be a fighting force. I only want them to be prepared. When we saw our military, do you remember this was during Obama? When the Iranians were able to board our ships and there were American soldiers being videotaped and crying? That was the low point. That was the low point. You can't allow that to happen. You cannot be overtaken. You can die while they're trying to overtake you, but you cannot be overtaken. It's a mindset. It is a mindset. And I think that part of the reason that the recruitment is up, as you think so, is that there's now a purpose. There's a purpose, and that purpose matters. In the words of Secretary Hegseth, we reestablished at the department the warrior ethos. We want warriors, folks that understand how to exact lethality on the enemy. We don't want endless contingencies and just playing defense. We think words and names and titles matter. So we're working with the White House and the president on it. Stand by. He's right. So I state what I want is what I want. And I do not care what you call it. But if by naming it to its original name, we didn't go out of the realm. We didn't invent anything here. We named it as the founders named it, if you will. If that connects more people to the mission, focuses the mission, focuses the mind, I'm all in. Now, so far, I have not heard anyone on the left, maybe because I'm not looking, say this is terrible and this is awful and this is just Donald Trump getting us into wars. And I haven't heard that yet. I have not seen that yet. But if you are to take a look at the base, I think they applaud moves like this. And more than just, the name, if we really dig underneath, what we're applauding is the masculine ethos of this. There's nothing beta about Department of War. There's nothing feminine about it. There's nothing soft. There's nothing weak. Now, some people are going to say to me, Tony, you're calling women weak. No, I'm not. I am stating out loud that we have had a society that has screamed about something called toxic masculinity, which is to say actually being a man, that you should be ashamed to be a man. You should be ashamed to engage in masculinity. You should be ashamed of being masculine. And then they had the audacity to tell us that Tim Walz and Doug Emhoff were examples of masculinity. And we both know that that's not true.
These people.
I'm sorry, what was that?
These people.
That's what I thought you said. People want to be a part of something where the focus is clear. Defending the homeland is extremely important. To defend the homeland, when the moment comes, you have to take out the enemy. Are you ready? Because you're not going to take out the enemy with social workers. You're not going to take out the enemy with pleasantries. You're going to take them out by holding the line and advancing and killing more of them. As Patton said, or at least I attribute it from the movie, you don't, win any countries by giving your life for your country. You don't win any wars by giving your life for your country. You win wars by making the other guy give their life for theirs. What I like about this move is that it is reality-based. This is where we are. This is what we need. This is what we need to win. Let's go win. I like it. Department of War it is. But admittedly, the Department of, no, you didn't. It's got a nice ring to it. It's got a nice ring to it. You have 22,000 jobs created in the month of August in the United States. That ain't great. The estimate was 70+ thousand. And then you have manufacturing down for the 6th month in a row. Dr. Matt Will, economist at the University of Indianapolis, to break it down. We're just going through the data, kids. It tells a story. That is coming up. Keep it here. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Welcome back, everybody. Tony Katz. Tony Katz. Today, look at the kid. That's Dr. Matt Will right there, economist at the University of Indianapolis. What are you doing?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm all right. First of all, you sound a little soft there. Can you turn up your mic?
Maybe if I actually use my mic.
That would help. Listen, is this your first time? What's happening?
I'm not. Is this which end do I talk into? I'm not sure.
Right. By the way, you should know that Mike said doom and gloom Matt Will channel change time.
Oh,
bring it in the audience, Dr. Will. That's what you're doing right there.
Let me call my two friends to tell them to tune in to make up for Mike.
Yeah. I just want you to know, this is what I said in response. Right there, you can see it for yourself. I like that Mike's here. We just have a fundamental disagreement. Now, I will say some people view you as doom and gloom. Everything's terrible, and Trump's terrible, and your mom's terrible, and it's all terrible, and the rest. I do not think that's what you do.
Well, if you have me on when we're talking about AI, you would get more optimism. If you have me on when we're talking about other topics, I'd be very optimistic. Stock market, investments, growth. But you bring me on for the depressing topics.
Do you want me to discuss the CEO meeting with Trump?
Ooh, I'm not familiar with it.
It just took place yesterday.
Oh,
and everybody's there and they're hanging out. But we'll talk about this. You stay right there. I'll bring you back in a second.
Okay. We can talk GDP revision too.
Wow, and the data is actually coming across the wires on time. Good job, BLS. Change in non-farm payrolls for the August jobs report, 22,000. 22,000. Interest rates started dropping long before this data was released. And last month, well, a subtle revision to 79,000. And if you look at the 2-month revision, thank goodness it's not minus 258,000 like it was last month. Comes out to minus 21,000.
Now, everything gets revised. And we have seen nothing but revisions in the days of the Biden White House. But they started with a high number and revised low. 22,000 jobs versus a 75,000 estimate. And you've got Kevin Hassett of the White House Economic Council saying, oh, no. Next month it'll get revised up. It will? Why 22,000 jobs? And then the market responded by saying, hey, maybe this means we'll get interest cuts. And then they realized maybe we won't get interest cuts. It's a thing. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Dr. Matt Will joins us right now, economist at the University of Indianapolis. Let's talk about these jobs numbers. 22,000 versus 75,000. Where did the jobs come from? Where did they not materialize?
Well, I like how you started by saying that they're going to be revised and probably down because that's the trend. The June was revised down 13,000. Private was revised down from June by 27,000. But to get to your question, Tony, I got to put a positive spin on this because I know some of the people on the chat always like to complain I'm doom and gloom guy. So let me put a positive attitude on it. Okay. Hospitality went up 28,000. Healthcare went up 46,000. So there are some strong segments of this. Retail went up 10,500. But the overall number 22 is pretty bad. We saw manufacturing, and this is, of course, where we're going to get the doom and gloom. Manufacturing down 12,000. Overall goods production down 25,000. This is not good. This is terrible. But again, good news. Government down 16,000. So we see the bad parts are the parts being impacted by tariffs. And I'll say this, I've said it before. Trump is amazing. His economy is fantastic. If he can just get it out of his own way, it would be one of the best economies we've ever seen.
So we're discussing jobs numbers and you started discussing tariffs. You're saying now that there's a correlation. Where do you see it?
Oh, it's 100%. There's no disputing that the correlation is between tariffs and what we see, because the parts of the economy that are shrinking is the manufacturing base, the goods production base. Those are the things that are shrinking. And that's why this number is so low and why the June number was revised down. But it's not just an opinion. We can look at other data. The ISM PMI report, that's the one that measures manufacturing in the United States. It just came out 4 days ago, and it showed us the 6th consecutive month of contracting manufacturing in the United States. That's what tariffs do. They shrink manufacturing because we're spending more money on imports, which means we have less money to spend. That's just math. If you have less money to spend, you're going to buy less of stuff you produce at home. It's not the right formula.
Talking to Dr. Matt Will, economist at the University of Indianapolis, this manufacturing number and tariffs to the manufacturing number, tariffs to the jobs numbers. I want to go back first to what we were just talking about with jobs. You're saying that the tariffs are higher, so people are not hiring, and that's why you saw an increase in the hospitality, because that really doesn't get affected by tariffs, and you saw a decrease everywhere else. And I'll take any decrease in government job numbers I can get. I do consider that to be excellent, excellent news. Better for everybody. I'm happy to see it. I want to see more of it. But the growth in hospitality and not the other places, is this just you, or is this something that economists theorize about and share about, discuss that, hey, this is actually very worrisome?
No, I don't think it's worrisome. I think hospitality growth is a good thing. And I'll tell you, you say a phrase in your show I like that you say a lot is, it's possible for both things to be possible at the same time. It is possible to have good parts of the economy and bad parts. I think the positive retail number, I think the positive hospitality number, I think the positive healthcare growth number, these are all good things. The total growth in private industry, plus 38,000. All of these are good because Trump has incredibly good policies. He's taken government regulation out. You can get an approval for a merger much quicker than you could before. You could get regulation out of the way so you can produce a product that you couldn't produce before. These are all growing the economy, and we see the growth. The area we see no growth, we see contraction, is in the areas that are directly impacted by tariffs. Wages in hospitality, healthcare, retail, those aren't impacted directly by the tariffs. And wages, I didn't even mention the other good news. Wages were up 0.3%. That's 3.6 annualized. There is good wage news in this report. We haven't seen that in a long time. So there are some good parts.
Just to be clear, talking to Dr. Matt Will, economist, University of Indianapolis, the argument was that real wages were up 0.7%, and annualized, that puts us at almost 5% for the year. You just gave a lower number. I just want to make sure there's not why there's a discrepancy between those two.
Oh, there's different reports. Just the report we saw, the 0.7 you're referring to, was earlier in the week or last week. I forget what it was. And this was today's report. They're just different reports, but they're both in the same direction, which is positive news about wages. So wages, good. Again, Trump is his worst enemy and he's his best friend. And I just wish his worst enemy would lose more.
So the worst enemy you feel is, of course, tariffs. And this brings us to this manufacturing number, which, again, if you want to talk about the thing that you have discussed on this show more than anything, as a guys, this is where you need to be paying attention, Dr. Matt Will. It's been this manufacturing report, these manufacturing numbers, what it is we're seeing, down again for the 6th month in a row. So down manufacturing means down hiring and down sales. Yet we see real wages up, we see retail spending up, and a GDP that's revised up to 3.3%. You will forgive me if I say that sounds schizophrenic and nutty and I can't follow it.
It is. It is, because, again, the good Trump is causing a growth in the economy. We see it in the revised GDP data. But the segment of the economy that is shrinking is manufacturing. The thing that he claims should grow as a result of tariffs is not. And everybody knows this. Every economist knows this. It's called comparative advantage. We've seen it throughout history, that the tariffs are causing a shrinking in manufacturing, and that will continue until we get off this bandwagon. I think his statement, Lutnick said it today, and I think Trump said it, you have to look to next year. I do believe the pain from the tariffs will subside. We'll get to a new norm. We will live with the suffering of it. It's not going to be perpetual. So I do believe, like with anything, you increase taxes, tariffs are taxes. You're going to absorb those taxes. You're going to budget for them. And then I think at some point you will see growth. Now, would it be better without the tariffs? Yes.
Again, I'm starting to start slapping you around. You can't budget for them if they change. The tariffs on India change. The tariffs on China could change at any second. I don't disagree. If you had a standard play, 10% tariff, the market could figure out what to do. But we don't have that yet, and that doesn't seem to be coming.
Yes, I mean, you're right. And this is what I'm saying. The market will absorb it. The market will figure it out if it becomes stable, but it's just not stable yet. I think the market can deal with it and manage it if it sees it. Let me give you some good news in the report that I love to talk about. New orders were up quite substantially this month. Supplier deliveries were up. So we see the good Trump policies, which are domestic orders, suppliers receiving more input. All those things are good, but inflation is still there. Customer inventories are still down. And this is the worst part is for the 7th month in a row, manufacturing employment has declined. So again, he's got to get out of his own way to have the greatest economy that we may have seen in a long time.
Talking to Dr. Matt Will, economist at the University of Indianapolis, on the tariff subject, I do think that sooner rather than later, companies are going to start passing parts, if not all of that tariff cost on. They can't absorb forever. But now let's get into where the market is. And you may be in the market in a retirement fund or all sorts of things. I'm just utilizing it right now as a kind of a benchmark conversation piece, in that the pre-market was down. Then after the announcement of the jobs numbers, 22,000 on a $75,000 estimate, 75,000 jobs estimate, the market went up. And then it has been down over 300. And this is because people thought, maybe the bad jobs will mean we'll have rate cuts. And then they said, well, maybe they won't do rate cuts. What's with the schizophrenia over this jobs report in the matter of just hours?
This is vital for everyone to understand. Markets fluctuate. These are people with perceptions, and their perceptions change minute to minute. I was listening to your show earlier, and you talked about mortgage rates being down. That was a shock. People were happy. Oh, mortgage rates are down. When rates go down, the market goes up. And then, then some reports came out as to why are the rates down? Oh, because of recession fears. And there's a flight to quality. So people are going to bonds to buy bonds as a safe haven that pulls up the price of bonds. It pulls yields down. So yields are now down because of recession fears. So then the market drops again. Tony, it's minute to minute throughout the day. The market reacts to every hiccup that it hears.
By the way, when he says, heard me earlier, he was talking about the morning show. Listen to the morning show as I was discussing this. Dr. Matt Will, economist at the University of Indianapolis. I appreciate you taking the time to be with us. More to get to. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. Welcome back, Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. Not doom and gloom, Dr. Matt Will. Ha! Ha! Anyway, Mike, I appreciate you. But I like Dr. Will. I think it's honest. I think it's forthright. I think it matters. And I think it delivers. Luckily, you could still get your Von Riest. Look at that. Look at that beauty right there. Flederman Von Riest. This is your watch of a choice, assembled right here in Indiana, in the United States. Go to Von Riest, R-I-E-S-T-E. Go to vonriest.com. Use promo code CATS to get your discount. Just that easy to do. vonriest.com. Promo code CATS and defiancebeef.com. The steaks, the ground beef, the ribeyes, whatever it is you need. However it is you want your cow to be delivered to your home so you can feed your family. Defiancebeef.com is where you go. You go to defiancebeef.com, use code EATDRINKSMOKE at checkout, and you'll get $150 off your entire order. They are incredible. Age 21 days, you're talking about so tender, so incredibly flavorful. All that, you think that you're getting good flavor from your local supermarket, you have no idea what it means to actually raise these cows. I call them cows. These cows, right, to raise beef that is meant to be quality, that you are serving your family, and you're buying a much bigger amount. What you're saving when you talk about per meal is incredible. Defiance Beef is where you go. You go to Defiance Beef, use promo code Eat, Drink, Smoke, get $150 off your order. DefianceBeef.com. Get that going. Get your cow, a quarter, a half, an entire cow, however you want to order it. I have a quarter coming. Should be here at the end of the month. Cannot wait to share that with you right there. Oh, yes. And on Eat, Drink, Smoke, I grilled up some tomahawk ribeyes. It's video forthcoming. So good. So good. Let's get back to the program right here. Wait, why is that? Why did that not show? Hold on. That's interesting. I thought I did that right. There it is. Much better. Yes, a short live stream today. That is correct. That is accurate. I have my reasons. So thank you. I am persnickety. Of this, there is no doubt that I am persnickety. Coming back to the radio show. That's Pramila Jayapal, the congresswoman from Washington State. And it's as if she doesn't understand how the Constitution works. The Supreme Court is the only court that is discussed in the Constitution. Every other court exists because of a creation by Congress, and therefore it can be taken away. This goes back to that story. We shared it yesterday. It was NBC News. Shocked to find out that, well, they shouldn't say shocked. They posted the story. I'm shocked. No, wait, I'm not. 12 judges anonymously writing a letter to the Supreme Court saying it's wrong that you're overturning our decisions. You don't have our back. The role of the Supreme Court is not to have the back of the lower courts. The role of the Supreme Court is to engage having the back of the Constitution. And if the lower courts are engaged in activism, the Supreme Court, thankfully, is a check against that. Pramila Jayapal, along with these activist judges, along with the left, is saying that the Supreme Court shouldn't have a say. The activist judge should be left to be the activist judge, and that's the end of it. Who do they think they are? How many more ways does Representative Jayapal or the squad or these leftists have to tell you that they don't believe in America? They don't believe in the country. They have no respect for it. They have no care for it. They have no want for it. They have no reason for it if it is not going to do their bidding at their moment. They believe they should be allowed to judge shop and everybody should suffer. They believe they can challenge anything Donald Trump does, and you cannot challenge anything they do. Remember, what's yours is theirs, and what's theirs is none of your business. That's the way they act. That's the way they go about engaging. But this is a remarkable conversation. From the idea of this letter, anonymous judges, somewhere you know who they are. It's time to throw people off the bench. You don't have our backs? This is what one of the judges told NBC. I don't want the Supreme Court to have your back. I want the Supreme Court to have my back. And that means having the back of the Constitution. That's all I want. It's the only thing that matters. Who cares whether you're happy? You think I care whether Judge Boasberg, who wants to rule that the President of the United States can't decide immigration policy, you think I care if the Supreme Court has his back? What an odd thing to think. And maybe more to the point in a way to think about it, what a personal thing to think. How dare you not back me up? I'm a judge too. Or I'm a judge and I said so. Everybody has to listen to me. And now you're getting a member of Congress to say, yeah, this whole third branch of government thing doesn't work. Yeah, this whole thing about checks and balances and a Supreme Court, this doesn't work. We just want to do our thing. So they go about delegitimatizing, to quote Al Sharpton, the Supreme Court again. Invalid, incomplete, inconsistent, unacceptable. The people who want to tear away at the institutions are the leftists. Thank goodness. Trump's greatest legacy is the court. I wish some of those judges were better, but take what I can get. Keep it here. This is Tony Katz Today. Find everything at TonyKatz.com. And you can too. You can find everything at TonyKatz.com. I know it's a short stream today. There are reasons. And I know some things are secret. Some things, they stay right here is where they stay. But I appreciate you quite a bit. I'm glad that you're here. The show continues, the radio side. You can listen to the live stream over there at WIBC.com. The show will continue. I appreciate you guys more than you know, and I'll be back on Monday. Take care.